Okay, so I've been carrying around a compressor in my bus to air up my tires, and you can't tell, but I've got the hose, air hose, wound up in that box. But what I'm going to do is add a reel. If you see, I installed one of these in my house, and it's just freaking awesome. And so what I've measured out, I cut a piece of wood. That's the compressor I've been carrying around. And so what I'm going to do, I bought another one of these reels. I'm going to mount it to this piece of wood and put it in that bay right in the center where I've just been carrying the compressor. That way I just fire it up, pull the hose out, do what I got to do, put it back. Only thing, I've got it mocked up here how I want it to sit. The only thing I'm going to do is unbolt this and rotate this around so it's right here. So I'll get started on that and then come back when I've gotten something accomplished. Okay, I've got this rotated around. It's 11 millimeters. No, it's a ½ inch, which is kind of funny since this is straight off. You can still smell the china on it, but it's using SAE metric thread or SAE threads, ½ inch. Got my bolt holes marked with pink because that's all I could find. I don't know if it's like this in your house. You come to my house, there's 3 things you can't find: a pen, nail clippers, and scissors. But I found one of my wife's pens, so I just snagged it. Originally, I was going to screw through here, drill a hole in these feet, and bolt this to the thing. But it's sitting on rubber feet. I think the whole time it's been sitting in that bus for over a year, bouncing around all over the country, it hadn't moved a lick. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to put eye hooks, or little, whatever you call them, right here. One there. One there. And then I'm going to use this bungee cord. I found these in my stash bolt pile. I'm trying to do this without having to go to the store again. So, screw these in here, bungee cord. This will be bolted down because that's going to have a lot of flex on it. So let me pull this stuff off, drill the holes, start putting it together. Thought I'd show this. These are the kind of bolts I had laying around. These little square head things. And I actually like using these. I wish this shoulder was bigger, but on wood, it's a 1/4 inch. Take it in there. If I can do this one-handed. I'll put it up against the tailgate. You can see it sticking up. Take your hammer. Boom. Flip it over. Now they'll bite, so you can tighten them down. They won't spin unless you go all He-Man gorilla on them, then they'll spin. But what I'm doing, this is plenty good. Alright, let me get that thing mounted up and come back. Okay, I dug around in my parts. Well, anyway, that's what I came up with. Let's put some red loctite on there. And this one will go down. Drip some more on there. Come on, you little. Up and down. Work your way in there. We want to get it about right. About flat. That's the problem, is I really should have had some nylock nuts, but that's what I got. So I'll let that set up a little bit and then I'll pull them back down and do the other side. Okay, I got the eyes done with the compressor. I got this thing bolted down, so the next thing to do is build a hose to go from here to the compressor. So let me get started on that. But you can see this is how it's going to sit in the coach. That'll be the front of the bus. That's the back. Be in the forward bay. I'm leaving this area right here because up here on the wall is some plugs and stuff, and I can, oh, there you go. You'll see. Okay, I found a piece of spare hose because I don't throw this stuff away. It's the good stuff too. I don't know if you can read that, but yeah. So I'll screw this in here. I'll put some, it's not Teflon, it's for natural gas, but whatever, it'll work. Then I'll put this in together, and that'll give me a quick connect on the compressor. That way, if I want to unhook this from the compressor and just use the other quick connect, I can. I don't know why I would, but I'm just going to do it that way so I don't hardwire. If I need to take the compressor out, I just pop the line, pull it out, instead of doing a hard connection from here to the front of the compressor. So let me get this line built, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so when I was mocking this up, one thing I didn't think about was clearance for that line. I got a choice. I can either unbolt this, drill new holes, or I can go get a 90 fitting. I think I'll just unbolt it. In Russia they would say son of beach sheet, but whatever, holes are cheap. So let me do that. Slide the whole reel over about 3 or 4 inches, and then we'll mock it up. Okay, I got it mocked up, and that's how it's going to sit in the bus. Now I've cut that board to a length where I can't put it in like that. It won't fit. I got to wiggle the board around. So I'm going to take the compressor off, get the reel and everything installed in the bus, then I'll come back and show it all installed. Of course, I'm going to have to do some more unbolting. As you can see, I cut that board to fit between that wall and this tray. I mean, pretty tight. But I can't get it in there, so I could either unbolt this again, which actually I'm getting pretty good at, or I'm just going to take that reel catch off, because the reel, I don't know if you can see in there. Well, yeah, it's not picking it up, but the reel will fit, barely. I'm just stuck on that catch, so I'm going to unbolt that, get it in there, put that back on, and then we'll get this all set up. You can see I took the catch off. Now I'm able to slide it in, so I'll leave this running and see if I can give you a little better view. Set this camera on a wrench. Oy, oy, oy. Alright, so now that I got it in here, you can kind of see the thought process. It's butted up against here, it's captured by that beam and or post, whatever. The board goes all the way. It's got about an inch gap on the wall, but I mean, it's not moving. You can see it was, I had to take it apart to get it in here, so I left the inch, you can see right here, I cut it where that board will jam under that nut, and that nut will kind of hold it. But if I want, depending on when I start throwing all my crap back in here, I can slide this board back all the way to that post, or bring it all the way forward to this post, depending on how I want to have the rest of my cargo stored. And then I'll just plug it in right there. So let me get this all put back together, and then I'll show you what it looks like finished. Okay, well, you can see I got everything installed. I put the compressor in there kind of cockeyed, or whatever you want to say, so that valve right there isn't exposed if you're jamming stuff in here. Ran the power over to that plug over there, and also ran the extension cord we use for outside. I ran that over here and zip tied everything. I zip tied it around that reel just to make sure the power cord and the air hose don't get tangled up with one another. But overall, I think it's going to work really well. I already pulled the hose out. I can reach all the tires from this side. It's 50 foot. If you're going to do this, Harbor Freight, you only got a 30 foot or 25 and a 50. Get the 50. It's like 10, 15 bucks more, but it's, trust me, it's worth it. So now I got to do is see if I can get all my stuff back in here, because if you can see over here, I got stuff jammed everywhere, and I got stuff in the front yard. So determine my final position of this board before I really zip tie and lock everything down. So I'm gonna go see how that fits. I'm not quite sure how good this is showing up. That's why I was doing it with the other door open. Now I'm doing it with it closed. So anyway, it's all set up, works great. You can see that yellow wire. I went ahead and wired it in this plug right here, which is just for outside use, whatever. Went ahead and ran those to the other GFCI plug on the other side of the bay over there. Probably can't see it. Zip tied everything, got it all set up while I was laying down here doing this. I already got all my junk loaded back in the shelter. Just got to put, we got one of them little fold-up carts. Those things are awesome. It's kind of like a pop-up shelter, but it's a cart. Like if you go to the beach or stuff like that, you got a kid, you're dragging around a bunch of crap. They work really good, and that's in there too. But all in all, I'm really pleased with it. I mean, I know the other choice you have is one of those VIAIR or whatever compressors, and I'm not a full-timer, you know, I'm a weekend warrior, so we go on, you know, weekend trips to the state parks. If we're lucky, well, at least one, if we're lucky, two, you know, week-long or week-plus long vacations during the year. But the reason I'm bringing that up is, for me, space isn't as much as a premium as it is for other people. So that's one thing. It takes up a good 1.5 foot depth or whatever, and then the whole length of the bay almost, or width of the whatever. It takes up a chunk of space. So you might not want it that way. To me, the advantages are, one, it was cheap. I already had that compressor. I've had it for a long, well, not for a long time, 3 or 4 years. And I think, you know, those things go on sale at Harbor Freight all the time. Same with that reel. Those things are on sale all the time. So I already had the compressor, so all I had to really do was buy the reel, and I just bought the reel because I was sick of dragging out hose every time to do my tires. The other thing is you can run air tools. You know, you're not going to run air tools off of one of those little high PSI compressors. They're pretty much for tires and inner tubes or something, you know, floaties, but you're not going to run an air tool on it. And I'm not going to say I'm going to be doing any big air tool stuff with it, but I mean, it's nice. I guess it's an option. It's probably an option I'll never use, but it is something you can do. All in all, for me, what I need, I think it worked out really well, and I'm really happy with it.